Have you ever noticed something strange? The smartest person you know isn't the richest. Maybe it was the top student in school who now works long hours, lives paycheck to paycheck, and constantly worries about money. Meanwhile, someone who barely passed their exams is building businesses, buying assets, and creating wealth. How is that possible? If intelligence creates success, why are so many intelligent people still broke? The answer isn't what you think, because the biggest obstacle to wealth isn't a lack of intelligence. It's the way intelligent people think. And by the end of this video, you might realize that the very thing you've always been proud of could be quietly keeping you people. One has an IQ 140. The other has average intelligence. Who becomes wealthy? Most people immediately choose the genius. But history tells a different story. There are brilliant scientists who struggle financially, highly educated professionals, drowning in debt. Engineers earning six figures, but living paycheck to paycheck. And then there are ordinary people who build million-dollar businesses without ever being considered the smartest. So what's happening? Here's the first uncomfortable truth. Your brain evolved to survive, not to build wealth. Every financial decision you make passes through a brain that's obsessed with avoiding risk, seeking comfort, and protecting certainty. And intelligent people often fall into this trap more than anyone else. Why? Because intelligence makes you better at justifying your fears. Think about it. When an average person hesitates, they might simply say, "I'm scared." A highly intelligent person creates a 10-page mental report explaining exactly why the opportunity probably won't work. The market is unstable. The timing isn't perfect. The competition is too strong. Interest rates are too high. Maybe next year. It sounds logical. But underneath all that logic, it's still fear. The brain simply dressed fear in expensive clothing. This is known as rationalization. The smarter you are, better your brain becomes at convincing you not to act, and that's dangerous. Because wealth usually rewards action, not perfect analysis. There's a famous saying in business, done beats perfect. Yet, intelligent people often spend months researching something that could have been learned in a week of actually doing it. They confuse preparation with progress, and without realizing it, years disappear. Here's another hidden trap. School trains intelligent people to chase correct answers. Life doesn't work that way. In school, every question has one right answer. You study, you memorize, you get rewarded. But money isn't an exam. Business isn't an exam. There are no sheets. Sometimes you make the right decision and still lose. Sometimes you make a terrible decision and still win. Reality is messy. And many intelligent people struggle because they're waiting for certainty before making a move. But certainty never comes. The wealthiest people don't have perfect information. They simply become comfortable making decisions with incomplete information. That's a completely different skill. Now let's talk about something even more dangerous. Identity. Imagine someone who's always been known as the smart one. Their entire self-worth depends on being right. Now imagine they start a business. What happens if they fail? It doesn't just hurt financially. It attacks their identity. Failure feels like proof they aren't actually intelligent. So instead, they avoid situations where failure is possible. They stay in jobs where they know they'll succeed. They avoid entrepreneurship. They avoid investing. They avoid uncomfortable conversations about money. Not because they're incapable, but because protecting their identity feels safer than growing it. Ironically, the people who become wealthy often fail far more. They simply don't define themselves by failure. They define themselves by learning. There's another psychological pattern almost nobody talks about. Intelligent people often fall in love with complexity. Simple investing, too boring. Building one profitable business, too ordinary. Creating one reliable income stream, not exciting enough. Instead, they search for complicated strategies. Advanced systems, perfect frameworks, endless optimization. Their brain equates complexity with intelligence, but wealth usually follows simplicity. Think about Warren Buffett. His investment philosophy isn't complicated. Buy great businesses. Hold them, be patient. Simple. Doesn't feel impressive, but it works. Now here's something your brain doesn't want to hear. Being informed isn't the same as making money. You can read 500 books about investing or watch thousands of finance videos. Listen to every successful entrepreneur and still remain broke. Knowledge has become entertainment. People mistake consuming information for changing their lives. Your brain rewards learning because it feels productive. Every new fact gives you a tiny dopamine hit. You feel like you're improving, but if nothing changes outside your mind, nothing changes inside your bank account. Information only becomes valuable when it's converted into action. That's where most people stop. Let's do a quick thought experiment. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and every financial book you've ever read has vanished from your memory, but everything is gone except your habits. Would your financial future change? Probably not, because your habits create your future, not your knowledge. That's why two people can read the exact same book. One becomes financially free, the other stays exactly where they are. The difference isn't information, it's implementation. Here's another invisible habit keeping intelligent people broke. They trade time for certainty. A stable salary feels safe. A predictable paycheck feels logical, but over time becomes the thing they're selling forever. Meanwhile, the wealthy slowly shift from selling time to owning assets. Assets work while you sleep. Skills can scale. Businesses can grow. Investments can compound. Time cannot. Once today is gone, you never get it back. Intelligent people often understand this intellectually, but emotionally they still choose certainty. Because certainty feels safer than possibility, and that's exactly what the brain wants. Remember, the brain evolved in a world where uncertainty often meant death. Today, uncertainty often means opportunity. Your brain hasn't caught up. Here's the biggest twist. The goal isn't becoming smarter. The goal is becoming less controlled by your own intelligence. Sometimes the wealthiest decision is also the simplest. Take the first step. Launch before you're ready. Invest before you know everything. Learn by doing. Adjust as you go, because success doesn't belong to the person who knows the most. It belongs to the person who keeps moving after everyone else gets trapped inside their own thoughts. So if you've ever wondered why you're still struggling financially despite working hard, despite learning constantly, despite being intelligent, maybe intelligence was never the missing piece. Maybe courage was, because in the end, money doesn't ask how smart you are. It quietly asks one question: what did you actually do with what you knew?